Right now, a really high-stakes military standoff is playing out in one of the most important waterways on the planet. The situation is incredibly tense, the stakes are absolutely global, and the next move, well, it could involve a massive naval operation we haven't seen on this scale for decades. So let's break down exactly what is going on. Everything is centered right here, the Strait of Hormuz. I mean, just look at this picture. That's the normal, everyday density of ships squeezing through this unbelievably narrow channel. It's already a crowded, complicated place to be, and now it's become ground zero for a major international showdown. And this number, 1/5, this is why the entire world is holding its breath. About a fifth of all the world's oil that travels by sea has to pass through this tiny choke point. So you can imagine, any disruption here isn't just a regional problem. It sends massive shockwaves through the global economy. We're talking about everything from the price you pay for gas to the cost of, well, almost everything. So who are the players in this chess match? On one side, you've got the incredible high-tech assets of the coalition navies, things like these super advanced helicopters. And on the other side, you have Iran's very different strategy. It's asymmetric, relying on swarms of these small, fast, and really agile patrol boats. It's a classic matchup of technology versus tactics. Okay, so what's the situation on the ground, or I guess on the water, right now? Well, it is a very tense standoff. Both sides are on super high alert, but for the moment, things are more or less contained. Let's dig into the recent events that got us to this point. Just recently, U.S. forces have actually carried out strikes on Iranian boats that they believed were about to lay naval mines. At the same time, Iranian patrols haven't stopped. They're still out there monitoring everything. And this is the crucial part. Commercial tanker traffic is already starting to slow way down. Shipping companies are getting nervous and trying to figure out if it's even safe to go through. Now, officially, no one has started escorting ships through the strait yet. But, and this is a big but, military analysts are seeing all the telltale signs. The preparations for convoys, they're definitely underway. It's all about reading the moves on the board. So, how can they be so sure? Well, they're pointing to 4 really big indicators. First, you see the active suppression of mine threats. That's always step 1. Second, there are warnings going out to ships to stay away from the Iranian coast, which hints at potential strikes. Third, a whole bunch of coalition warships are building up in the area. And fourth, commercial ships are already starting to cluster and wait east of the strait, which is the classic move right before you form a convoy. So, all this brings us to the how. If these escorts actually start, what does a modern naval convoy even look like? It's not just a bunch of ships sailing together, it's a very carefully choreographed ballet designed for one thing: maximum protection. You have to think of it like a moving fortress on the water with layers of defense. There's a lead warship out front handling air and missile defense. You've got escorts on the flanks to protect against small boats. Another escort brings up the rear to guard against anyone sneaking up behind. And watching over the whole thing, you have helicopters. They are the eyes and ears of the entire operation. And here's the kind of crazy part. You've got these incredibly powerful billion-dollar warships that can do over 30 knots, but they have to slow down to a crawl. We're talking 10 to 14 knots to match the speed of a giant, fully loaded oil tanker. And that slow, deliberate pace changes everything. Because they're moving so slowly, a convoy is basically a target for about 6 to 8 hours straight. Analysts have a name for this: the Hormuz exposure clock. The danger isn't the same the whole time. It slowly builds as they enter the strait. It hits this peak risk phase right in the narrowest part, between hours 3 and 5, and then it starts to drop off as they get out into the Persian Gulf. And if you think that's just a theory, check this out. The data shows that the vast majority, over 70%, of past attacks on tankers happened in that central 2-hour window. That's why the escort commanders pour all of their attention, all of their resources, into surviving that specific phase of the trip. Which brings us to another huge factor: timing. The planners have to make a really tough call. Is it safer to go through during the day, or do you risk it under the cover of darkness? The answer isn't simple. It's a big trade-off between technology and just the environment. I mean, look at the strait at night. It becomes this really confusing, disorienting place. You have the total darkness of the open water smashed up against all the light pollution from the big cities and ports along the coast. It's a tense setting for any kind of operation. So which is better? Well, at night, it's a lot harder for an attacker to visually target a ship with a missile.
But during the day, it's way easier for the good guys to spot mines in the water or see a swarm of small boats coming from miles away. It's a tough call, and planners have to decide which threat worries them most on that particular day. There's no perfectly safe option. And this is where something you might not expect becomes a huge tactical factor: the moon. You see, the approaching new moon around March 18th is going to create some of the darkest nights of the month. For anyone planning a nighttime convoy, that period is a really, really attractive window of opportunity. But darkness doesn't treat both sides equally. The coalition forces have a massive technological advantage here. These are thermal images. They show how infrared sensors just cut right through the pitch black, picking up the heat signatures from boat engines. It basically turns night from a problem into a huge advantage for them. And the single most important piece of that advantage is the helicopter. They create what military folks call the helicopter surveillance bubble. Think of it as a giant, moving security perimeter that lets the convoy see for miles and miles, way beyond what the ships themselves can see from the bridge. And the scale of this bubble is just immense. With helicopters and other patrol aircraft, a convoy surveillance can stretch out 30, even 60 nautical miles. Look at this map. That's bigger than the entire width of the Strait of Hormuz itself. It means the escorts can literally watch the whole waterway as they pass through. Okay, so we've got the preparations in place. We have a tactical window of opportunity opening up. What's left? What are the final triggers? What are the things we should be watching for that will tell us these convoys are about to start, immediately? If you're following the news, keep an eye out for these 4 things. 1. Commercial shipping slows to a crawl or stops completely. 2. We get confirmed reports of naval mines actually being found in the water. 3. A clear political announcement from world leaders saying, "We're doing this." Or 4. We see that final group of all the necessary warships gathering in one place. Any one of those could be the final domino to fall. And hey, if you want to see the very first physical sign with your own eyes, this is the spot to watch. Analysts all agree that the first convoys will gather in this specific staging area in the Gulf of Oman, just to the east of the strait. You'll be able to see the tankers bunching up on public maritime tracking websites probably hours before any official announcements are made. So there you have it. You've got the military buildup, you have massive economic stakes, and a really complex tactical game playing out. It all boils down to one final question. Is this small patch of ocean about to become the most watched and maybe the most dangerous waterway in the entire world?